In this video, I want to teach you how to become a high value, high status individual, and by extension, to get others to see you that way. Even if you are someone who doesn't have access to as much money and capital as you would like, or you're not confident, you feel insecure, you don't feel like you're educated enough, or you're not in the right environment, I understand, but you are still someone who can become high value and change how you show up in the world and completely transform how others see you and perceive you with just a few simple tools that we're going to talk about in this video. For some context, we live in a world where people make judgments about you upon meeting you almost immediately. People look at your disposition, your posture, what you're wearing, your facial expressions, how you look, how beautiful they deem you to be, how educated, how well spoken they deem you to be. Sometimes even before you've said anything, immediately as you walk into a room, based on how you enter a room and what your presence is. And we all do that almost automatically. And even if we don't want to be a judgmental person, the truth is that you are judged by everyone around you because we live in a social world. And so changing your self-perception and by extension changing how others perceive you and how you show up in the world is going to have tremendous benefits, and it has widespread applications for every aspect of your life, from your social life, your interpersonal relationships, both those that are close and professional, your career outcomes, your academic outcomes, regular interaction with somebody in the grocery store. It's going to make such a dramatic difference, and it also influences your business relationships, how much money you earn, and everything like that. So when people meet you and they judge you, they tend to subconsciously, okay, it's raining, hopefully you can still hear me well. They tend to categorize you into 3 different categories. I wish someone told me about this before, and I could have gotten started in transforming myself into a high status individual. But the first category is low status, somebody who is a follower, who is dependent and influenceable with little power. Then there's the mid category, which is someone who is a high achiever. They have potential, they're ambitious, they're capable, they're willing to follow instructions or do what they're told. However, they are still influenceable and they tend to live in a meritocratic way. This is the category that I always strive to put myself in, because I was always focused on not being in the lower category, and I didn't really think it was possible for me to be in the higher category, because I thought that that was reserved for people who were rich or who lived in certain spaces or looked a certain way. And the third category is those who are high status, who are leaders, who are independent, who are free thinkers, who are powerful or have power, and by extension have influence, and they have value and they live their values out also. I don't really hear this being spoken about quite a bit on the internet in these 3 categories. I kind of conceptualized this for myself over time when I realized that I was so focused on not being in the low category and thinking that I needed to just work harder, follow instructions better, be more obedient, be more disciplined, and then I would finally get the things that I wanted. And I had to focus on being the best because I was just a very good student in school, and that kind of mentality was really what I thought would make me not be average or not be mediocre. But that middle category, where I feel like a lot of us who are watching this video stuck at, are because we tend to want better for ourselves, and we've been told that if we work harder and if we follow instructions more, if we listen to authority more, then we will get there. But the truth is, this is a kind of a cycle. Once you believe that you just need to be better, work harder, be more ambitious, and then you'll finally get some kind of prize or reward, you always tend to still be dependent on something else or someone else to feel worthy, secure, valuable, and valued. And the tenets of high status individuals is how they feel about themselves and how they project their energy into the world, and by extension how others see them and view them. It's not about having more money or having better connections or being in certain circles. It's just that that tends to be a byproduct of how you see yourself. And so changing the dynamic of how you treat yourself and how you show up is going to, by extension, affect your financial status, your success in business and relationships, and just in social life. This is a mindset and behavior first, and it's all about signaling to yourself and signaling to others that you have value and that you are high status. I think that when we grow up, we often don't think that high status is available to us if we don't have a lot of money, or we didn't grow up rich, we didn't grow up in a certain neighborhood, we didn't go to certain schools. But this way of thinking about yourself and about your relationship to the world is available to absolutely anyone. You just need to learn how to do it and what to do. The truth is that you get to decide your value, nobody else. Oftentimes, when we're in these environments, we learn from our peers and our parents and school that we aren't enough as we are. We need to work harder in order to achieve certain things. Money is hard to come by. The world is mean. The world is unfair. Life is tough. We have to listen to others who know better than us. We have to not trust ourselves. We have to be hard on ourselves. We have to be insecure. We have to be not confident. And we just have to work hard and climb the rat race and do and never be still and never be satisfied. And that's how we're gonna finally eventually reach some place where everything is perfect in life, because we've gotten some sort of money or security or freedom. And oftentimes when we reach that place that was our goal, we just create a next goal and we still don't feel enough, safe and satisfied with our lives. So to round out that point, you get to decide what your value is, and then that becomes true for you. So when you move through the world believing that you are enough, you are worthy just because you're here, that you have something to offer to the world, that you feel secure and grounded and sure and confident in yourself, and you feel like you have a good relationship with the world, with the universe, whatever you choose, or you have a center with God, and you feel powerful in that. You know that you have an effect on the world, and that you also have the biggest effect on your life, and you are capable within yourself to choose the way that you show up, choose the way that you move through the world, and you have an influence on the opportunities that are presented to you and what you will allow into your space and what you won't. When you don't have that, you feel insecure, you feel not confident, and you feel like you are reacting to everything that's around you. You don't feel in control, you don't feel empowered. And by extension, you feel like you have to accept what is given to you, and you have to accept that you're valued this much in the workplace, or this is the cap on the amount of money that you can make, or this is the kind of friends that you can associate with, this is the kind of partner that you deserve. And I have to just stop and say that I am not trying, this is not a manifestation boo-boo where you don't work towards the things because that you want to achieve, because we live in a causal plane at the end of the day, as in earth is physical. When you throw something, it falls, it may break. There's a cause and there's an effect, and therefore you do have to show up and do physical work and actual things in order for you to get results that you're looking for. But the way that you approach certain things, it's going to make a difference. So I'm going to talk about a few points that you can start reshifting and implement into your life to start showing up as this version of yourself, and truly where you get to decide what your value is in the world. A pretty obvious one is education. Being knowledgeable about what you're interested in, about what you value, is going to make a really big difference in terms of how secure and confident you feel, because knowledge is power, but also it's going to affect how others see you in conversations, because when you are well educated, that shows up in your conversation naturally. You don't have to force things out or try to use big words, but you are aware of whatever it is that your interests are. And education doesn't have to be in school, it doesn't have to be on world topics or classical music and classical art. There's no specific requirements that I believe that you need to have this for sure to say that you're an educated and you're a knowledgeable person. I believe that you should follow what your own interests are and what you are interested in for your education. You can be interested in language and presentation of the self and nonverbal communication and posture and how that relates to confidence. You can be interested in space and climate change and astronomy and business and entrepreneurship and how those two things may be linked. You can be interested in nutrition and wellness and food, from an Eastern medicine side or Ayurveda. It really doesn't matter. You could be interested in video games or AI or music. It really, really, honestly, truly doesn't matter. But when you seek out information and you spend time in your curiosity, reading, learning, and engaging and immersing with the information that you are interested in, you're going to appear that much more as someone who has value and who has status, because number one, you are investing into what you feel is important, and that is always going to show up in how you present yourself to the world, because you are going to feel much more confident in you and you are following through on what do you think is important. And the more time you spend on what you think is important, the more that you are going to value yourself and your own opinions. And of course, being knowledgeable about anything and whatever you're interested in is going to change the dynamic of any conversation that you have. A little point to note: you should let your knowledge and education flow naturally. It should not be something forced where you're trying to show someone that, hey, I know about this or I know about that. Be very humble in conversations and try not to overemphasize or talk about your achievements and things like that in certain ways. Just know what they are and feel proud of them. If they come up, sure, acknowledge them, but don't try to, in a very overt way, make yourself to appear to be this kind of knowledgeable, super educated person, because it often has the opposite effect. The internal work of learning to trust yourself, to make decisions for yourself, to know that you deserve your best life, to identify what are the things that are important to you, what are the things that are meaningful, what is your ideal life and ideal reality, and then simultaneously feeling capable enough within yourself to say that, hey, I deserve this and I know that I can work towards and get this thing and bring this reality into my life. Once you start doing that internal work, it is going to make such a difference in terms of how you show up in the world and how you feel about yourself. Even though this is my second point, I feel like it is one of the most fundamental things, because the difference between someone who is low status, who feels like they're a complete victim, to someone who is middle status, who feels like they have to work super hard and achieve and that they're not enough, versus someone who is high status, who is enjoying life and playing the game of life. They know what they want and they know that they are enough and capable and valued as it is, and they are reaching towards their goals from the place of not chasing and running after things, but attracting things to them, because they vibrate at a certain frequency where they know that they're good. They love themselves, they value themselves, and they show up for them, and that gives you a certain kind of confidence and presence and essence that you really can't buy and you really can't fake. On that note, there are certain elements of your presence that you can practice, because it signals a certain level of confidence, not only to yourself but especially to other people. So research shows that when you smile, you get more happy, even if you weren't happy before, even if it was a fake smile. In the same way, when you do some of these gestures that signal confidence, it makes you feel more confident, and it also signals other people that you are more confident. Your posture. If you are like this, I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, maybe, I guess. What do you think? I don't really want to, I don't feel, I don't want to do that. Versus someone whose shoulders are back, they sit up, they make eye contact with you, you see their hands as they're moving, they feel comfortable to take up space and stretch their arms out and just be in the world and be seen. There's a big difference in terms of how you perceive that person, and what you perceive is how you feel like they see themselves, and therefore you value and put them into that box. You would describe the first character as shy and not capable, unsure of themselves. And if you are unsure of you, then I will be unsure of you. There's no way that if you aren't confident, sorry, my earring. Oh, jeez. I don't know what I did. If you don't feel sure of you, then nobody else is going to feel that way. We kind of put people into the box that they put themselves in. So posture, your gestures, using your hands, taking up space, engaging with your environment and the people around you, eye contact, your body language, your tone of voice, your pace of speech, your cadence, how loudly you speak or how softly you speak. Do you pause, or do you like talk, quick, and rattle things out because you just want to get it out over the way and then get out of there? Do you like fidget? Are you agitated? Are you comfortable and calm and relaxed? These are things that really are tangible, and they make a difference, again, on both sides. How you see yourself and how you feel about yourself in the moment, and by far and wide how others see you and how they perceive you, because people rarely judge you immediately. Even if you feel good about yourself and you are someone who just has like this terrible phone posture, it's going to make a difference when you walk into a room. If you're walking in like this, how people perceive you, versus if you're like this and your chin is up and you're ready to go. Clothes are also a symbol. And this is not going to be a old money aesthetic where like some Chanel dupe with the gold buttons and a pleated skirt matching set. This is not that. In fact, if anything, just like being very loud with your accomplishments and your education, that signals the opposite, that you're trying to achieve something or portray or put on a facade that you actually don't have. Being someone who is well groomed, who has good hygiene, who smells really nice, who maybe wears jewelry that looks nice or that you feel comfortable in, or maybe you don't wear jewelry at all. There was a study recently that showed that women who wear makeup to work, regardless of their level of attractiveness, earned 20 to 40% more money. So I suggest when you go in certain spaces, you always have a little bit of makeup on. Even if you look beautiful without makeup, it's just the world that we live in, and you're not doing it to hide anything. It's just using the science and the psychology to change how people perceive you. And yes, you shouldn't care what people think in terms of doing things to please other people, but also you should care about your life and your outcomes and what you can do to best maximize that and change those effects. And I also think that what you wear in terms of like certain styles and silhouettes tend to suggest certain things. I'm not going to tell you what to choose, because I don't think that you need to have a capsule wardrobe and a white shirt and a blue stripe and a black and white striped sweater and a very minimal aesthetic to signal wealth and status, because there are high status, high value individuals who wear an array of things, and it shows up by a lot more their posture and their gesticulations of their value. And sometimes the clothes do play a part, so I'm not going to ignore that, but it doesn't have to be one particular aesthetic. I think what matters is, does it fit you well, and does it fit your vibe of what you're trying to go for? Because when you wear the things that you like and that you think complement the parts of yourself that you want to project, you will feel more confident and more comfortable in it, and therefore you'll look more confident. This is a really big one, but your health, your well-being, and how your body looks is a very big signal of wealth, of your ability to have leisure time to take care of yourself, of your ability to be relaxed and therefore be mentally clear and mentally calm, of valuing yourself and of having discipline, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy to be someone who is very healthy and who looks very healthy as well, because there's health and there's also aesthetics, and unfortunately they kind of come together, and it takes a lot of time and investment to be able to live a lifestyle where you're able to achieve an aesthetic look and you're able to be very healthy and be very relaxed as well, because it takes money and it takes time to do that, and high value individuals have time and money on their hands, and therefore whatever that you can do to take care of your health and how your body looks as best as possible, that is going to make the biggest difference, because the discipline and the devotion to your health and well-being that you put into yourself with your self-care habits, with how you eat, with moving your body, those effects are going to transform your own self-concept and how much you value yourself, and it's also going to change how people value you and how people see you, because when you have a certain body that looks like I work out and I take care of myself, when you walk into a room, that speaks before you do, because people already know so much about you in terms of all the things that you did in order to get there, and that is going to change your perception of how you're perceived. Mystery or choosing or what you reveal can also really signal what your status is, because if you value yourself, it means that you value your emotional safety, that you don't feel like others are privy to information about you that you don't feel comfortable sharing. And a lot of high value people don't necessarily share certain things about their personal life that they don't want to, even if there's someone who has an online presence or not, because they know that they don't have to, and that they get a choice, and that they value themselves and the people around them enough to set boundaries where that is concerned. Because if you don't have boundaries around your privacy and what you feel like other people deserve from you, then that is a surefire way to signal, I'm trying to people please, I don't value myself, and I don't see myself as someone who is worthy of keeping a perimeter around what is my space, both physical and personal, and that I get to decide what comes in and out. So when you're getting hounded by somebody, or somebody is asking you questions that you don't really want to answer because you don't really think this is something that you need to speak to them about, you can just say that's not really something I want to talk about right now, and you can ask them about themselves instead. Honestly, this is something that I'm still learning and figuring out right now, because I really and truly didn't feel like I could have been someone who values and loves themselves wholeheartedly and someone who signals I'm a high status individual. I thought that I needed to work and climb and have grit in order to finally get to some place that I would have never gotten to, where I could feel relaxed and feel comfortable and feel confident. But the truth is that that is available to you at any moment, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your background, regardless of who your parents are or how much money you have or the decisions that you made in the past. You get to decide at any moment, I'm going to value myself, and I am going to only be in spaces and positions where I am valued, because I get to decide for myself how my life unfolds, and I have an excellent relationship with myself. I trust myself, I love myself, and I'm going to put myself first. Life is about being yourself, figuring out who you are, and living your true self and your true values out. Is learning how to trust yourself, how to depend on you, how to connect to your own power and your presence and your ability to move through the world with a certain level of grace, being confident, being secure, living in your values, being in your own energy. Almost a selfish point, or what we used to deem as selfish, because that is how people and opportunities come towards you, how they are attracted to you by the energy that you put out, rather than chasing, fighting, working hard, and being hard on yourself and criticizing yourself as a badge of honor. That is the true essence of what it means to be a high value and a high status individual. And when you get this kind of mindset and behavior and energy down pat, you are going to start showing up in the world in a different way. And you're going to start attracting different opportunities, different people. People are going to see you and value you differently. And you're going to be able to charge a higher price on yourself, so to speak, in general. And that is going to have effects for the kinds of relationships that you have, how much money you make, how successful you are at achieving your goals, and it's going to transform your relationship with yourself, and also how disciplined you are towards your health goals and your beauty and your hygiene and everything else. So I just want you to know that you're in control of how you see yourself and how others see you, and I trust you to continue on this journey to make such a difference in how much value you feel like you truly deserve, because you deserve everything. You deserve the world, and you are valuable and enough just because you are here and you exist. With that, I'm gonna say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.